Now I'm going to talk about some common uses for percents. One very common use for a percent is photocopying. If I would like to make an image larger or smaller, I have to put into the photocopier a percent. Now when I put that percent into the photocopier, I cannot use a decimal, so I'm going to round to the whole number. But if I would like to determine, for example, if I have a paper that is 2 by 4, and I want to enlarge it by 75%, what are going to be the new dimensions? Well, when I'm enlarging something by 75%, I'm going to be adding that to 100. So it's going to be 175%. The original is 100. If I'm enlarging it by 75%, now I have 175%. So I'm going to place into my printer or my copier 175% of the original. To figure out what my new dimensions would be if I enlarged it by 75%, if I enlarged it to 175%, I'm going to multiply each one of these numbers by the percentage. So, remember, anytime I multiply it by percent, I must change it to a fraction or a decimal. The easiest is to change it to a decimal by simply moving the decimal point to the left twice. So I would do 2 times 1.75 and 4 times 1.75, and that would give me my new dimensions. Another way that percent is used is for sales at stores. So the basic equation to figure out the discount at a store is the price times the discount percent will equal my discount. So let's say, for example, I have a sweater that is originally priced at $20 and it is on sale for 50% off. I would do the price $20 times the discount percent, 50%, will give me how much I'm going to save off of that sweater. So for $20 at 50%, remember I always have to change my percent to a decimal or a fraction. I'm going to change it to a decimal by moving the decimal over twice. So I do 20 times 0.5, 0, 10, I have one decimal I'm going to move over. So my answer, my discount would be $10. So in this case, since my original price is $20, my discount is $10, the amount I'm going to pay is going to be my price minus my discount. 20 minus 10, I would pay $10 for that item. So for discount, my formula is the original price times the discount percent will give me my discount. If I want the new amount that I'm paying, I'm going to have to do my original price minus the amount that I figured out that's going to be my discount amount. Another way that percentages are used is on things like taxes. Normally, if you go to the store, you're going to have to pay a sales tax. So let's say, for example, the basic equation for sales tax is going to be, again, my price times my tax percent is going to give me my actual tax amount. So again, if I have a $20 sweater, and let's say I'm paying 8% sales tax, what is going to be the sales tax on that sweater? Well, again, I'm going to change my percent to a decimal, moving over twice. In this case, I'm going to have a placeholder. So I'm going to do 20 times 0.08. I'm going to do 20 times 8, 0, 16. I have two decimal places, 1, 2. So I would pay $1.60 in sales tax. If I want my total price, I'm going to have to add this amount to my original dollar amount. So I would pay $21.60. Remember, with discount, it's the opposite. Since it's a discount, I'm going to subtract from my original amount to find out the amount I pay. For tax, I'm paying extra, so I'm adding to my original amount. Another thing that percents are used for is interest. If I put money in a bank, many banks offer an interest amount That is the amount that they pay you for you allowing them to use your money. The basic equation for interest, this is what we call simple interest, is my interest equals PRT. P stands for my principal, that's my original amount that I'm putting in the bank. R stands for the rate, and T stands for time. Now time is always going to be measured, in our instances, in years. So, let's say for example, I have $100 that I want to put in the bank. That's going to be my principal. Let's say that the bank offers me a rate of 2%, and I'm going to leave it in the bank for 6 months. Now remember, since I have 6 months, my time must be in years. So anytime I have a month, I'm going to put it over 12 to make it a fraction of a year. So it'll be 6 over 12, which would reduce to 1/2 or 0.5. Now I'm simply going to multiply these numbers together. 100, remember 2% I'm going to have to change to a decimal, which is 0.02. So I would do 100 times 0.02 times 1/2 or 0.5. That would give me the amount of interest I would make. Now if I want the total amount that's going to be in the bank after that, I would add that interest to my principal, and that would give me the total amount that I actually have in the bank after 6 months. So this formula would give me my interest, the amount the bank would pay me, the amount I would have afterwards. I would have to add to my principal the amount that I put in to find out the total that I would have after 6 months. The last way that we're going to talk about today, well, two more ways that we're going to talk about using percent. For some jobs, if you sell a certain amount of things, you get what we call a commission. You get a percentage of the sales. The way you figure out your commission is you figure out how much you have sold, your amount of sales, times your commission rate, which is going to be a percentage, equals what we call your earnings, how much you actually make. Your earnings are almost always going to be less than the amount that you sell. These are only a percentage of the amount that you sell. So, let's say for example I sell a car that is worth $10,000, and as a car salesman I get 10% of the sales. That is my commission rate, is 10%. How much money will I make on that? Well, I'm going to multiply 10,000 times 10%. I change 10% to a decimal, move it over twice. 10,000 times 0.1. So for that $10,000 car, I would make $1,000. That would be my earnings. Let's say, for example, they want you to figure out your percentage. So let's say I sell something for $20,000 and I earn $5,000 off of that. What would my commission rate, my percentage, be? Well, anytime we have an equation like this, I'm always going to put the earnings inside a division, my sales outside, and I'm going to divide. That will give me a decimal. Then I change that decimal to a percent to find out the percentage. Finally, the last thing we're going to talk about is what we call percent change. Many companies want to find out how much their company has grown, how much by a percentage they've grown by 5%, or if their company has shrunk by 10%, to be able to figure out what we call the percent change, to know what to do with their company. Percent change, we do what we call the amount of change over the original times 100. So let's say over a year, a company went from making $50,000 to making $75,000. So the amount of change is simply going to be, I'm going to subtract the two amounts, 75,000 minus 50,000 is going to be 25,000. I'm going to put that over my original, which is the first number, 50,000, and I'm going to multiply by 100. And that will give me my percent change. Thank you very much.